welcome to the first episode of 2BK.
Yo.
My name is Ernest, aka Neto.
My name is Nathan, aka King Nathan, aka Honcho, aka all that. Yada to me.
And so 2BK basically stands for Two Black Kids.
And the whole premise of us doing this is to give you a insight on various topics who happen to come just from two black guys and how we see these things. So looks like this first official episode, we're going to focus on the topic of the great shonen anime Samurai Champloo.
Are you one of those so-called badasses?
Yes, the greatest anime ever made. So basically we've been kind of like going back and rewatching all the episodes of the season. Sadly, one season, but at the same time, would hate to see a season 2 and it not be as good,
Of course.
So we want to just jump right into it. We have a special announcement towards the end of this episode that we are going to announce.
Yeah.
So let's jump into it. So since it's only been on season 1, my first question would be, would you like to see a season 2, and how would you like for it to go? Well, before we get to that, let's talk about Samurai Champloo.
We're gonna give you a little background. So pretty much Samurai Champloo, it focuses on 3 characters, Jin, Mugen, and Fu. And pretty much Mugen is a person who is
self-taught samurai from like the ghettos of that area.
And Jin, his opposite, which is almost his nemesis,
like
but close
scholar.
comrade, is a very reserved person, and he's a samurai who doesn't have a master. Fu's part in this whole thing is that she's a very sweet person, and it seems that it would be set up for the typical damsel in distress role of all of the stuff that she gets into. However, it's actually brilliant the way that they put her in these things, because it forces Mugen and Jin to come together and to do what they have to do. So the whole premise of them 3 is that Fu wanted to set out to find her father, which is supposed to be the running thing of the series, the samurai who smells like sunflowers. Jin and Mugen are brought together in the first episode, where they actually have a showdown with the magistrate and his body of people there, because in the first episode, the magistrate and his people were doing what they normally do, abusing power, talking mad types of crap. And Mugen and Jin was like, oh hell no, it's not going down like that.
So basically, what you can learn from this, what you can expect from this anime is that women are strong. That's what I liked about it. Women are strong. Not only does she play like damsel in distress, the typical damsel in distress, she also is like the savior of Mugen and Jin in the very first episode. So she plays a very strong role, and it's pretty amazing anime. And
and some of the recurring themes that you see is, it's all about the continuous destination and following through. And the main thing is that, about what it can relate to human life is that, sometimes life can get lonely. So it's really good to have people around you who are like-minded or from, same background, that can come together and kind of form this camaraderie that'll actually propel you to, continue going forward and actually finding a purpose in life. And I think that, what Shinichiro Watanabe, who is the creator of that show, not only that epic anime, but the great Cowboy Bebop, his you know, a lot of people were saying, you know, oh, it takes away from the main plot and yada yada, but it's these side plots that are so great that they all correlate with the story, that it just tells this one great thing to get over to the people. So yeah, I mean, like I said, you know, if you guys haven't checked it out, we highly recommend it. If y'all like this content, we want y'all to leave some comments and give us some feedback, because if y'all want us to go into a more in-depth analysis of it, we definitely could break that down for y'all. But yeah, like the premise of that, like I said, is just about the togetherness of finding your way in life, and it's just overall amazing. So you know,
so let's jump into it. We actually had some questions. We kind of go off like the top of the head, since it's fresh on our mind, and talk about, you know, ifs and ands and what it, like, you know, just things like that. So my first question was, would you like to see a season 2? Also, a follow up to that question is, if yes, how would you like it to be done? Like, what's the plot behind it?
I've always thought about this ever since I saw that. Me personally, I wouldn't want to see a season 2, because I feel like the first one is so perfect that if you attempt to like tap into that story again, and if it doesn't get the time and the focus that it's needed to, you would be messing up a very like big amount of fans who feel like this is the anime that, you know, was defining for their childhood, and if not done right, like all hell could break loose. So I think if it's it's like that old saying, like, if it's not broken, then don't fix it. So me personally, I wouldn't want a season 2. However, I think a season 2 could work, but it would have to be done in a way that connects directly to the old story. And it has to be, like I said, done step by step. Like, for example, to compare it with something else, another great anime and manga, Death Note. There was recently, about a few months ago, there was a one shot, which, if the people out there don't know what one shot is, it's pretty much just one edition. They tell the story, and it's that. There's no continuation after that. It's just like for that purpose. And so what they did with that, after being so removed from that world for like so many years after the manga and stuff had completed, I think they did a really good job. So if a season 2 was to be done, I would prefer maybe try it as like, put it in the manga first and then see how that goes over with the core fans. And if that brings more of a great response, then we could translate that manga exactly into season 2, exactly like that. So
to kind of specify the follow up, since you said, like, your main answer was no, and then you said that, you know, you kind of would like to see a season 2. My question to you is, what's the plot of season 2? What would you like the plot of season 2 to be about? Or, like, let's say if they do a one shot, like, you know, one episode or something like that, what would that be about?
Wow, this is like that moment when I was in calculus class and I was dealing with that difficult ass question. You just can't come off the dome.
I have one. I actually just thought about it, and I've been thinking about it for a while. So there was. You
elaborate on it so that way.
I got you.
Let me see.
So there was this one episode. I think it was episode 2. Forgive me for not knowing the name of the episode. But this is when Fu was captured by the man who had his arm cut off in episode 1. And he hired an assassin to take down Gene. Now, this assassin was an unknown man who was, like, very fragile, and as smart of a scholar as Gene is, he's able to recognize that you're a fraud. He's actually a highly trained assassin who played a front.
Who hired you?
There was an epic battle to which Gene may have or could have lost, or, you know, they made it seem as if Gene was the first time you could see Gene as like a breakable person. He's not an over the top samurai to where he just can't be touched. You're able to see him get hurt. So there's no telling as to how that battle would have went. And at the end of the battle, once he found out that his employer was killed, the assassin said, "I no longer need to pursue you anymore." So he left. He said that one day he hoped to meet him again and finish what he started. And I feel like that should be part of the one shot. You know, battle
Using that as source material.
Exactly. So as a one shot, I feel like that's something that should be done. But since the whole since the whole series focused on all three of them as one, they never like to leave one or the other out. I feel like there's something. Well, I feel like there should be not necessarily a heart to heart, but like there should be a point in time where Mugen spends time with Fu as Fu spent time with Jean, even though Jean didn't say anything when it was locked up in the prison at the checkpoint. So I feel like that's something that they should have. I feel like that should be like it needs to be some action in there as well. But
okay, well, since I'm not really a big person who's waving the flag and being the front runner for a season 2, you asked me a question. I'm going to ask you a question.
Go for it.
So, if you wanted to okay, so first, would you want do you want a full season, or do you want a special episode that'll or some type of movie that could be done? Let's establish that first in order to go into my question like I wanted to.
You know what? I actually would not mind a movie. With all great one season animes, they do have a OVA that's played towards the end of that season, such as like Dead Man Wonderland, which you haven't seen.
Holy shit!
Yeah, it's still in my queue.
Yeah. So yeah, there's a couple of animes out there that needs OVA. So I feel like there should be a movie, and I feel like one of the premises should be about Jean and that assassin. Another one should be something with Mugen. I know he kind of like killed off a lot of his enemies, but I feel like that's what's going to tie it into the second season. There should be, because you know, a good guy always wins. Basically, you can't have Samurai Champloo without one or the other. It'll be nice to see like Jean get killed. Not saying that's my least favorite character, but just saying like it'll be nice to see some type of twist that's just like, didn't expect that. But
so okay, so what would be your rollout right now? If you were given the reins right now, what would you do? Would you come out with the movie first and then roll out a second season, or would you just focus directly on second season and call it a day?
Oh, movie, definitely. Because
so movie only, no second season.
Well, because this is the one shot. You know, instead of putting it in a manga, well, definitely put it in a manga, but this is what everybody's been doing. Like, anime is such a huge, has had such a huge impact in the stateside, and is able to like portray like the visionary arts of like people from that culture to allow other people to, participate in like viewing, understanding that culture and stuff like that. So I feel like the OVA, the movie, should definitely be the one shot, and then trickle that into the second season. This is gonna be the premise of season 2.
Okay, so it's a joint thing. We start off with the OVA and then we move into the season. Okay, so two part. Okay, so so my question to you is, with both projects, the OVA and season 2, since the late great Nujabes is no longer with us, who would you trust as his sole heir to be able to score this beautiful masterpiece that we grew up on?
To be honest with you, that's gonna take some research. It's gonna take some research because I don't really know that many people other than Nujabes. By the way, I call him Saber June.
Because just a little FYI, to our understanding, in Japan, the last name is normally first, and then the first name is second. So that's why we say Saber June. So just a little side,
it's actually
thing.
Spelled Saber June backwards as well.
Yeah. So and then that's a little side thing, because his name is June Saber June. So yeah.
So
you're welcome. I did that for free, so you can keep up.
Yeah, definitely. Got to do some research. I will have to check into who is collaborating with Shingo 2 and I can't remember his name. It's one of the first collaborators like after Shingo 2. I forgot his name. Substantial, I think. I want to say Substantial. It might not be. I might be wrong. I don't know. Leave a comment. I'll find his name later. I might put it in the link, like the description below. I have to talk with them. Not talk. Well, I can't talk with them. But anyways, so I have to do some research on who they're collaborating with, who has that good sense, and I would like to keep it culturally, like in line. Like I don't want to get anybody from the States. I don't want to get anybody from Europe. It has to be somebody from Japan who's like mentored by the late great Najabes, and somebody who's doing it underground, doing it big in the underground scene, and not like underground like how we have underground now. I mean, like underground is in like he's not putting stuff out, he's going playing shows constantly and people know who he is, stuff like that. And just have to like it have to be somebody who's just like unknown to me, like it has to be really authentic.
I think you could, like I said, that's a very important question for me because, I mean, for people who have been exposed to how great this anime is, that was like a big part of it, of the different type of music that was being incorporated by Nujabes, and for him to leave his legacy on such a project like that, whoever took the reins after that would be like a great weight. So I mean, me personally, I have like a few names in mind, but I'm not gonna tell y'all because it was my question. So
okay, I got you.
So
okay, so
but I don't know, maybe depending on the feedback. So if y'all want to hear like my input on who I think could take it forward, y'all just like leave us comment, and if y'all we'll put it out. So
okay, so my question to you, Nate, in the final battle between Mugen and Jean, let's say that they was able to get that rematch, brand new blades, full health. Fu is a mediator at this point. She doesn't care who lives or dies. She's fulfilled her destiny and she's doing her own thing. Who would win, how and why, between Mugen and Jean?
Are you really asking me this right now?
Yes, I am.
God damn, is this like a fucking pop quiz? Like I didn't sign up for this.
Hey, just give me something.
Oh my god. Man, this is probably more pressure than like walking across the aisle with your significant other. Oh.
So stay tuned for next time to hear the result of this question.
Jesus.
So the special announcement that we wanted to make was that Shingo 2 is coming to Houston, and we're going to go see him. There's no promises, but we're going to try to see if we can go backstage and chat with him on Nujabes.
So, in accompanying with that announcement, we actually have thoughts about a second episode as well that correlates with that. We're gonna really go in depth into what Nujabes means to us, and also what he's done, not just for hip hop, but for music in general. And being able to talk to, we're going to do everything that we can to speak to Shingo 2. He's going to, hopefully, we can have him as a special guest for that episode, so you guys can get a little bit more insight as to how great this man was, and how he left, when he left here, he literally left us a blueprint on how to treat not only music but treat life, and so
We'll see you next time on that.